Hello and welcome to Cutting the Ball in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben and as always I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
Claire.
Hey.
And Pete.
Hello.
Did you forget your own line then, Mike?
No, I was waiting for her to light that cigarette. I was giving her a moment. She didn't take it. She didn't heed the silence.
It's like just a... Mike was just a... Where am I?
Oh yeah, I'm Mike.
Today we are going to talk about the global farming protests that are going on that you may or may not have heard about. It has been really hushed up, to be fair.
Well, that's why
In our
I chose
country.
it. Yeah. I was round a friend's house watching a bit of Alex Jones because he's obsessed.
As you do.
As you do.
Just pop round a friend's house to watch some Alex Jones.
Infowars.
Bit of Infowars, yeah, why not? Well,
Does it melt your brain? That's why not.
You're seeing a different perspective though, aren't you? There
Yeah.
are
You've seen the
people-
crazy perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to delve into that a little bit. This is a bit of a strange one. I know you've put quite a bit of effort into researching this one.
Trying.
Try.
Well, it's quite precedent though, isn't it? That it's happening right now, so...
It is, it's happening right now, and you know, we need farmers, they're kind of important people in society, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
We like bread, we like crops, we like food.
that's it. Even booze,
Well, yeah, hops.
hops and barley.
So we'll get into why they're protesting.
Why they're protesting. Then we'll talk about Monsanto, Bill Gates, bit of Alex Jones' globalism, because it ties into a bit of globalism.
And climate change.
And then climate change, and we will do a bit of a back and forth on climate change, facts and reality, or myths and facts, certainly according to Greenpeace, but they're going to be a bit biased on it, aren't they?
Yeah.
But before we get into all of that, let's thank some new and returning listeners. Londonderry in the United Kingdom, Amsterdam in the Netherlands, love Amsterdam.
Bet the farmers are around there, innit?
I bet they're all fucking in the
Protesting.
cafes. Like, no, who's growing the hemp? Sioux Falls in South Dakota, United States, Bangkok, Thailand, Katowice in Poland, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Totally two Kazakhstans, wow. Spring Valley, New York, Suki in Canada, Baraboo in Wisconsin, United States, London, UK, Ruzar in Hungary, Haywood, California, US, Dublin, Ireland, Virginia Beach in Virginia, Tizayuca, I think that is, in Mexico, Bear in, that's DE in the United States.
We had this last week.
I know, I can't remember. Delaware.
Well done. Claire,
Well, Claire, yeah. Bengaluru in India, Ashburn, Virginia, and Guadalajara, Spain.
And Hyderabad in India. He's told his mate. Thank you, Bengaluru.
Yeah, he's finally
Yeah, I
told.
bet they're on the other side of the country.
To be fair, no idea. Well, we are going to talk about India tonight a little bit, so...
Yeah.
Right, why are these farmers protesting?
Because they're bored.
Yeah.
They have fuck all else better to do.
Get there and farm some crops, you lazy bastards.
Get on your tractor. Stop whinging. No, I'm kidding.
As you better start off with the question, what's actually happening?
Yeah.
So a wave of agricultural protest has swept Europe and the wider world as a host of issues conspire to pit farmers against national politics. Farmer-led protests in Germany, Italy, Spain and Poland, and now Holland and Scotland are talking about it. The Dutch farmers were the first to take to the streets to complain about the impact of the new emissions rules. German farmers blockaded roads on the border with the Netherlands and gathered in large numbers to protest near the city of Herenberg. And Italian farmers also held tractor protests in rural areas and threatened to take the protest to the streets of Rome. Well, you're not going to get many tractors down a Roman street, I can tell you that much.
No. Not going to get many of anything else though if you block it either.
No.
Chariots, Claire, that's what you'll get down there. Polish farmers took over the streets of Warsaw, complaining against cheap imports and the high interests which have destabilised business and threatened their livelihoods. The heat of rising inflation has also reached Spain, where farmers blocked highways in the southern region of Andalusia to protest against high fuel prices and the rising costs of essential products.
Andalusia.
Andalusia. No one expects it.
No.
The initial anger from the Dutch farmers, however, arose from fears they would have to downscale or stop their business to meet reduction targets for the nitrous oxide and ammonia emissions produced by their livestock. While the Dutch government has announced large investments in farm housing and technology, they will also have the option to force farmers to sell their land in case enough volunteers for the technology shift are not found. Because while all that stuff comes in, you've still got to have people doing it the old way, haven't you?
So the ammonia emissions, that's piss, yeah? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
It's animal waste, animal
Waste,
excrements,
yeah.
isn't it?
Okay.
That's your issue. More cows you've got, worse it is for the environment.
Yep.
That's great when you've got simple little villages tucked around, scattered about, and they've all got 20 cows. They've got 20 cows in the village, and an industrial cow, eh? Talking thousands of head of cattle in the farm, aren't you?
But these businesses will have been like built on supply and demand. So how can the governments go, we want you to, reduce it by 20%?
Well, it's technology and things, isn't it?
Right, okay.
Well, in America, apparently, last year they were being asked and paid, apparently, to burn down crops and things. Biden, apparently, was literally like paying farmers, not directly, but indirectly through his different government organisations to order farmers to burn down their crops. And they were paying them to do so. So the farmers weren't actually losing out monetarily. But the food supply itself.
So you think they're trying to cause a food shortage deliberately?
This is what theories are.
Well, why would they do that?
Creates greater control.
It's going to create an
I
uprising.
think Ben kind of hit on it. Then it's all a control thing, isn't it?
They control our
because
food
then
supply.
they can go rationing and things like that. You might have to have ration kits like you used to have in World War II and things like that. And it's I don't know
Without
why.
a reasonable excuse, like World War II, there was an excuse for that.
If there's a global food shortage, though, they can turn around and say, "Sorry, we're rationing now.
Yeah, and then
We're seizing the food imports and we're going to distribute them."
Yeah, but if they're burning crops in the field,
They're not doing it like in the open. They're not like telling everybody they're doing it. It's people.
Would you burn crops
Even
without telling anybody?
Well, no.
Even in this country, farmers have been paid to leave fields empty.
Yes.
In America, some farmlands are so fucking vast you could burn a field and no fucker would know you've burnt that field because nobody lives around within 50 miles of them. And it's things like that, I'm assuming. And then words got out about it. But I don't know.
So at the moment we are in conspiracy theory territory.
This is what I'm saying, I don't know. This is just, if you look it up on fucking DuckDuckGo, lots and lots and lots and lots of articles come up about this. So, is there truth to it? Is it just conspiracy nuts? But if it is, there's a lot of different articles. There's been a lot of time spent.
you probably should have submitted one before we started the pod.
Could have really been telling us about that previously.
Well, I did mention it, but we were discussing other things.
Well, I think a big reason for the Dutch to be unhappy is not only because this shift will force 30% of its farms out of business by 2030. If 30% of your farms going out of business and being bought up by, guess who?
The bigger farms and the bigger
farms, bigger business, bigger corporations, people like Monsanto or Bill Gates.
Government-owned businesses and things like that, more than likely.
People putting their fingers in the right orifices.
Yep. Not all about the apple pie.
That's it. Further afield in India, there are protests at the non-avail of fertilisers, and reports from local newspapers said farmers across the state were facing short supply for the ongoing paddy crop season, even though the agriculture minister says that there's lots.
There's lots, but they're not. There's lots, but they've
lying.
not been able to get their hands on it. A bit like when we kept having fuel shortages.
That's right.
There was no real fuel shortage, but no one was being able to get fuel because there was no fuel, but there wasn't a shortage. Fucking weird, confusing.
So the price of fertilisers being kept up by it being said that it's scarce.
The government's saying there's no problem, but they're not getting it.
They're making more issue of the supply and demand. People want it more, prepared to pay more. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Now, of course, nowadays the problem is that every time you get a bunch of people protesting for their beliefs, one side, politically or the other, tries to hijack that to push their own agenda. Mm-hmm. And in this case, the right wing have jumped on it, because who do most of the climate deniers, which side politically do they belong to? The far right.
Right.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or alt-right, or whatever you want to call them nowadays. I lose track of what they are. And this is an issue, because it allows them to push their beliefs and their theories onto these guys who are grateful for the support and might just be tempted to listen.
Yeah.
So what began as Dutch farmers mobilising across the country in protest of government policies to curb nitrogen emissions has since gained support from nationalists and conspiracists who claim the measure to be part of a wider Great Reset or Great Replacement plot. Great Reset is a radical plan to transform the economy.
These words have been thrown around for quite some time now, haven't they?
They have.
They're interchangeable depending on how, you know, what political side you're on or your belief system, innit?
That's it. Now, we're reading you one, I'm going to read you one definition of it, but I'll guarantee you that someone who's the opposite aligned politically to me would be telling you something very different.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons.
This is their reason.
This
for
is
it.
their reason. And the idea is that they're going to reset the global economy. Instead of traditional capitalism, the world should adopt more socialistic policies such as wealth taxes, additional regulations and massive Green New Deal-like government programmes.
See, I'm all for that. Wealth taxes, fuck yeah. Additional regulations on pollution, fuck yeah. Green New Deal, fuck yeah. I'm
Prince
totally
Charles
on
was
board.
there. Fuck no.
Yeah, Prince Charles is pushing this, you bootlicking royalist bastard.
But we know from the world leaders, are they going to fucking follow through with this?
No,
Because
of
they're
course
full
not.
of shit. They lie to us continuously.
Well, and because they're world
They just say
leaders, they've
things
got
you wanna
different-
hear.
Yeah, they've got different motivations, haven't they?
Well, this is going to be taking money out of their pockets for
Yeah.
temporarily while everything sorts itself out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, not temporarily. Hopefully going forward, more socialistic policies.
But the problem is that who's in charge now?
Well, are they going to vote for this? Are they going
No,
to?
they're not, that's the
They're
thing.
not going to do it, are they?
No.
We've seen it. We've seen how corrupt our governments are. Taking money from the fossil fuel industries and big agriculture, big pharma,
Yeah.
and they do their bidding.
Big wood.
Big wood.
You said big wood.
Yeah.
So while I agree with everything they say, I just don't believe they're going to go through with it. I think they're just pandering to us.
Yeah, lip service.
What Greta says, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. It's all
That's more
talk.
like
Yeah.
So
That's what
He
they
was almost
say.
in the room there, Pete.
I know, fucking hell.
Quote
Klaus
Schwab. Every country from the United States to China must participate in every industry from oil and gas to tech must be transformed. Klaus Schwab is the founder and economic chairman of the World Economic Forum. Executive chairman, I do apologise. In short, he says we need a great reset of capitalism and that all aspects of our societies and economy must be revamped, from education to social contracts and working conditions.
Sounds good.
Joining Schwab at the World Economic Forum event was Prince Charles. Either way, that's what they seem to want, but the problem is that they're just one group going against massive corporations who are making far too much money to even consider getting taxed on their wealth, and therefore asking the politicians who they own, or through money and positions on their board, to go and discuss that in Parliament. They're just going to pay them not to, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, we can see it now. It's what we want. Majority of people want wealth taxes. Majority of people want all these things, and they're not happening.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself why.
The system we've got,
We've
isn't
got
it?
a
Yeah.
two-party system and none of them listen.
And yeah, but the problem is the party at the top that have the power, they're comfortable, so they don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
That's it, none of this affects them.
Yeah, so that's why they don't give a shit.
The best
It's not
example of
gonna
that is I'll give you his Rees-Mogg in the Brexit debate in Parliament when he was just having a bit of a nap.
Yeah.
And so, well, hang on, this is people's livelihoods at stake, Ian, and you're just having the political class has never been so far removed from the people they're supposed to
No.
represent, has it?
Their main job is to facilitate us getting poorer, and
But it's working.
yeah, it's working.
I'm earning more money now than I've earned in a long time, yet I'm no better off whatsoever.
Of course not. Have you had a
Skin.
10% pay rise? Anyone had a 10% pay rise this year to match inflation?
Yeah,
You
That's-
have.
kind of. but I was at a shit wage before.
You changed jobs, a bit different.
Change jobs,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
but I was
make
at a
that
shit
thing.
wage before.
Yeah, that's not a pay rise.
No,
is it?
no,
You're just going to
but-
do a better job.
I did have a pay rise from £10 to £11.
That's not 10%, is it?
Well, it is.
Is
Yeah,
it?
Exactly.
yeah,
different.
it's So I did
Is
get
that all it works out at? A quid?
but like I said, because of the way the cost has gone up, I'm no better off.
No.
So it's shit.
Most people are worse off, a lot worse off.
Yeah.
You're very lucky. to get that.
I am lucky in that
Yeah,
sense at the
extremely
moment.
lucky.
But
I've not
it's
heard of
shit.
anybody else getting 10% pay rises.
Nah.
No, and those that are on benefits, they're going to be, it's been pretty stagnant.
I only
hasn't
got
it?
that
It's
because of
only
a
been-
promotion.
Yeah.
I only got that because of promotion. So
Yeah,
if I
there
hadn't
you
had
go,
the promotion, I wouldn't have had that pay rise.
There you
so
go. That's different,
I
isn't
know,
it?
but you know what I mean. That's what I'm saying though. I've had that, but yet I am still on the line. I'm not well off. I can't
think
spend.
The only thing we've got to fight on our behalf are the trade unions. And they've been weakened
which are
considerably.
dying. Yeah, they're not like they
They're
were.
not- No.
They're not like they were back in day.
That was on purpose. That's from Thatcher onwards. They've
Of course.
put in bills and things, passed bills to cripple the trade union.
Yeah, but that's the Great Reset. Of course, the Great Replacement is, for some reason, the white supremacists, for some reason, think that there's a plot to replace white people. Even though everyone in charge is white.
With what? Green?
Any other ethnicity that they don't like.
It's going to be replaced by little green men.
Maybe. Even though everyone who's in charge is an old white man, they seem to think that we're being replaced. Interesting. It's an interesting theory.
Oh, we're going to all be, if we just keep intermixing, we'll all be chocolate.
That's
sort of
it.
like, whitey chocolate in the end.
Alright, Alex Jones goes on about globalism a lot.
Yeah.
The globalists.
Globalists, they're coming for your children.
And your guns.
And the guns, they're coming for your guns. And your liberty.
Saint Alex, because he is a part of the patron saints of the show, patron saint of bullshit,
Yeah.
doesn't really have much of a forum anymore, does he?
Well, he's been kicked off them all, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Which I don't agree with.
No,
Got free
we need
speech
that
or
bit
not.
of crazy because, what, are you gonna take
Yeah.
the
How
piss
can you
out
say?
of?
How can you say there's such thing as free speech
Course.
if that happens? It's not fair, is it?
No.
I think it's because, you know,
Unless he's doing something illegal.
See, if he's slating people and there's no evidence to what he's saying and things like that,
Sandy Hook.
What you mean
Technically-
SH?
technically, your defamation of character, things like that, can be construed as being against the law for.
well, that's why he labels them the globalists.
I can't.
Yeah.
Then you're not
There is a word
pinpointing
for
anybody,
it.
You can't get sued.
There is a word for it.
Yeah. Defamation.
There is. It's defamation. Slander.
Yeah.
Slander.
libel.
That's the word. Yeah. So
Whichever
I suppose on that level there could be reason to be able to boot him off air within
if he's-
law, but
They're saying it's missing because he spreads misinformation.
Yeah.
That was their main thing.
then surely
But then,
that's
who
up to
says
the
what's
person,
misinformation, who's not?
and that's up to the person listening to it to interpret, isn't it? So
Look at when COVID happened. We lost all our rights, didn't we? And that's exactly what Alex Jones was saying in all fairness.
Yeah.
The globalists are going to take away your rights. But we don't have the right to protest in this country
No.
anymore.
no,
To be fair, he does go and surf around the net and get the stories from other places.
Yeah.
He just
The
puts,
core of what he says
is
is true,
it's
but
true, but then he puts a big twist and goes, the globalists.
They're already here, the interdimensional shifting aliens
Yeah,
are already
yeah.
here and they're inside your house and they're going to eat your kids.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
thing
why
I
he
don't-
goes off into a flight of fancy, doesn't he?
the thing I don't get right is if he can be kicked off of air for spreading misinformation, how come priests, churches, don't get kicked off
Yeah.
the air for spreading misinformation?
Mainstream media, they lied to us about Iraq, saying they had weapons of mass destruction. That's just
Yeah.
the big example.
Yeah.
They lie to us all the fucking
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
All they have to do is print a little correction in the bottom of a newspaper. No one ever sees. That's it. They don't get taken down.
It's not right, is it?
No.
No. Double standards, isn't it?
100%.
Free speech or you don't have free speech.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, people really pushed back about COVID and the vaccines, didn't they?
Yeah.
Mandatory vaccination, rights being taken away. People really pushed back. People tried to push back against it. But it's only what Alex has been saying. I mean, I'm not defending him. He's, 9 times out of 10, he's spouting out of bullshit. But when my rights are being taken away, I'm like, well, hang on.
There are some things that he is going on about, like Mike said, that are right.
And every good conspiracy theory has a nugget of truth in it somewhere.
There's a great book by Naomi Klein called The Shock Doctrine. I don't know if anyone's heard of it.
No?
Basically,
Is it about German battlefield tank tactics in World War II? No, I haven't read it then.
no, it's about every time there's a crisis, the state, the governments look to infringe on our rights. Basically a power grab.
Yeah,
They use disasters and things as an excuse, like COVID, 9/11. Yeah.
So it's a valid point. He does raise some points.
And I think we can all agree with Alex Jones that we hate Bill Gates.
Until we do the Bill Gates episode, I'm taking a leaf out of Mike's book and sit on the fence about Bill.
No, I'll never sit on the fence. I want to punch him.
You don't like Bill Gates, do you guys, Claire?
I'm
Pete?
not a
No?
Bill Gates fan.
I'm not a huge fan, you know.
Just
What
his
I've
face makes me want to punch him.
I'm just.
But then beady it lies.
If you just go, he looks a bit shady. I want to.
No,
I like that. I don't like his face. Those aren't real reasons to hate
No,
somebody,
no.
guys.
He's a
are they?
privileged billionaire that thinks he's above everybody
there's
else.
a lot of reasons I don't like him. He's the sneaky little fucking worm.
Right, well, we will do
But,
an in-depth episode on Bill Gates, but as I was looking through this, Bill Gates' name did crop up a few times, especially when relating to farming, and it is quite interesting because now he's become the largest private farmland owner in the US.
Mad that, innit?
Arr.
Really strange
Arr.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of goes into what I was saying earlier about the making sure people are burning their crops. It could almost be for people, government-owned farms and things like that to gain power, and they've got it all instead.
Well, if they're paying people to burn crops, they're either paying them the value of the crop with no profit,
Which is probably what they're doing.
which is probably what they're doing. So I suppose that means that the people like Bill Gates can come in and swoop up their farm for a lower price after a few years of them struggling to get by.
That's exactly what is going on.
But obviously, Bill Gates and his wife Melinda, his ex-wife now, I think, and they got divorced because his name cropped up in the Epstein case, didn't it? Bill Gates, he'd been to the island.
Gee, what a surprise.
Surprised he hasn't got his own island.
He probably has.
Yeah.
With probably hundreds of little children living
Allegedly, remember, allegedly.
I did say probably has. He allegedly probably has.
The recent reports detailing the extent of Gates' land ownership have prompted criticism from some environmental advocates and farmers who say there seems to be a contradiction between his public environmental advocacy and his personal investment strategy.
Of course.
Others have speculated the farmland purchase may be a part of the billionaire's overall climate efforts. Bill Gates, of course, has said there's no connection either way. No connection.
What's that other one?
Do you know I said that like Alex Jones? Sorry. I was channeling the spirit out. Alex Jones
We're
possessed me
coming
slightly for a
from
second.
I will be heard!
Well, we brought up Bill Gates with another climate change thing to do with the chemtrails, didn't we? He was in there as well.
He was.
So, if he's got his fingers in, farming pies, he's got,
Every pie
every
possible.
pie. You just can't get away from Bill Gates'
Every
finger.
pie. He's probably the head of the Illuminati.
You'll never escape Bill Gates' finger.
He's like Jafar out of Aladdin, though, isn't he? He's like
I've never watched Aladdin.
the ultimate power. He's like trying to grow and grow. He's trying to have everything. He wants to be the most powerful person in the world.
The one that has the gold makes the rules.
I genuinely, that's all I think about. This is one of the reasons I hate him, because it's quite clearly obvious.
Because
that-
he's Jafar from Aladdin.
yeah, basically, he's Jafar. No, he's just clearly greedy.
Well, let's get into it. And what's he doing about his farms?
Well, the new details on the purchase of land and the discussion surrounding them serve as an important reminder that billionaires can store their massive wealth in all sorts of unexpected places, and there can often be a tension between their personal investments and their more publicised philanthropic work.
Where's he keeping his wealth?
Everywhere.
If you think about it, it's also a way to avoid tax, isn't it? Because the less money you have personally, the less you're going to be taxed. If your money's tied up in land,
Yeah.
you ain't getting taxed as much, are you?
That's it.
They all do it.
Tax
All the
loopholes,
big
yeah.
boys do it. Elon, they don't get a salary from their companies.
They get shares.
They get stocks and shares. They just sell that when they sell those, when they need, or sell enough of them to have a little bit of an income.
Yeah.
Or just let the company pay for everything. They basically live on expenses from the company.
Yeah. An interest in a, you know, your money in the bank and shit.
Now, NBC News reported the Gates had acquired more than 269,000 acres of farmland in the United States in the past 10 years.
Quite a lot of farmland.
They've made with the help of the Washington-based firm Cascade Investment and a number of shell companies, which are always iffy, let's face it.
Yeah. Another way to avoid tax.
Yep. Include farmland in the 20 states that cultivate vegetables such as carrots, soybeans and potatoes, some of which end up in Mackey's French fries.
Oh, don't fuck with my French fries, you cunt.
If you put in tracking chips in his
And I'll-
bloody McDonald's French fries next.
Then I'll come for him.
You messing with my Mackey's.
That's right, he'll be coming for you with his tracking chips.
He doesn't need a tracking
Tracking chips!
Hey!
He doesn't need a tracking chip. You've got a mobile phone. It's the most effective electronic tag you can ever have. That's what I don't get about these people who are putting a chip in you with a tell where you are, vaccine. You're like, mate, you've got a phone.
Yeah.
Have you not been to the shop and then you get home a couple of days later and it says, how is it at such and such a shop? You're like, what the fuck? What? How did you know I was there?
Yeah.
It knows.
And these details came after the agricultural outlet The Land Report reported in January the tech billionaire and his wife were the country's top private farmland owners in the country. Now, 300 acres is a lot of land for one family or private individual to own.
300,000 acres.
300,000. I said
300,000,
He
300,000.
said 300.
300.
Did I?
Either way, 300 acres is quite a big bit of land for one little family to own.
Yeah.
It is still a small part of the estimated 911 million acres of farmland
Wow.
in the US. Oh my god, 9/11!
All ties in.
It's all coming together. Gates is probably one of the he's one of the largest farmland owners in the country.
Yeah.
Bill Gates on a tractor, can you imagine it?
No.
Yeah.
I was trying it.
With a bit of straw in his mouth going, hey there, Melinda,
The night before the divorce.
make me a cup of coffee.
His land ownership has attracted particular attention because the billionaire has tried to make a name for himself in climate advocacy, and Gates is currently promoting a book on the subject and has positioned himself and the Gates Foundation as a leader in what the future of agriculture should look like.
And now he's writing a book about it all.
Yep.
Making even more
Buys a few
money.
acres and then thinks he's a farmer. What the fuck?
He's going to start teaching everyone how to farm efficiently now, isn't he?
But the problem with that is that he'd have to rent out the farmland, which could lead to practices that hurt the environment. So short-term farmers who rent land are less likely to take long-term conservation steps, and non-farmer owners don't really have the experience to understand the importance of protecting natural resources.
Because
So it's all just bollocks. It's just because he knows land is one of the most valuable commodities.
Yeah.
Especially farmland.
Yeah.
Maybe he's buying farmland to store all of his super robots that he's going to be building to take over the world, allegedly.
So everyone's saying he's buying farmland and he's what's he got under the ground? Has he got anything under there?
This is what I'm
Has
saying.
he got some massive bunker complex?
He's building bunkers and building robots to take over the world.
Surely he'll be building farm robots first.
Microsoft AI killer machines.
Well, if they work anything like his Internet Explorer, we'll beat them easily.
Yeah, they'll get a virus.
Yeah, they'll just stop working. More broadly, Gates and other wealthy buyers of farmland have also been criticised for contributing to the concentration of land ownership. Because they can usually make higher bids than what local farmers can afford, fewer people end up owning their own farmland. As New Mexico Professor Nick Easts wrote for The Guardian, this results in a greater push for monocultures and more intensive industrial farming techniques to generate greater returns, while indigenous people and small farmers are more cautious with the use of land.
Like living in Broseley, I used to live in a little village, and now because everybody's brought all the houses in the village, the price has gone up, so the kids of the village can't afford to live where they used to live.
And they all have 5 fingers and a thumb.
That are usually webbed.
Broseley people, that's...
Well, this is the problem, you see. That Great Reset we're on about, is that a cover just to snap up all the land? Take away from
Could
small
well be.
farmers?
Yeah, because one of the darker aspects to the Great Reset is that you get your credit score reset, debt cancelled, great, you own a house, You don't own that house anymore. It's all
But
been
it would
reset.
take away your debt. So
I don't know about that.
You'd keep your house.
There is a
Yeah.
possibility you could lose your house or have to buy it back.
Well, no, it would pay off your mortgage because that's a debt.
Like you've already paid your mortgage.
I don't know about
Well,
that.
no, because you own that, don't you then?
I don't know, because a great reset would be like, it's not just your debts, it's also your assets.
You go on about that? I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence of that.
Yeah.
It's something that you've just.
That was my understanding of a darker side of it.
Okay, that's a conspiracy.
Well,
then,
I
don't know
thought
about
you got to keep your house and say you were in debt to the mortgage by 50 grand. That would be paid off along with all student loans, credit
I
cards.
best get myself on the
If you
property
still-
ladder quick then.
What if Bill Gates comes in and buys up that remaining debt? You might end up owning part of your house.
Oh, God damn. That's probably his plan.
I don't know, just throw it out there. The issues at play go beyond what pieces of land Bill Gates has bought, and people tend to either look for the salvation story, he's doing this to save the planet, or they look for the opposite, it's just some greedy landowner.
I don't think it's a salvation one. He's selling himself as it, but
Really, he's a eugenicist weirdo, and there's ulterior motives.
Allegedly
Definitely.
eugenicist.
Allegedly.
do you really think he just wakes up every morning and goes, I want to kill everybody?
He wakes up in the morning, he takes a drink, and he says, anyone too evil.
I don't know, but his old man was proved to be a eugenicist. He was known to be a eugenicist. So it's not highly unlikely that his son does follow similar beliefs. He might not be quite as outspoken about it because he knows he can't be. You know what I mean? So there is grounds to believe it. Who knows? Anybody can write anything on the internet.
That's
Anybody
true.
can say anything
Abraham
on the
Lincoln said
internet.
that on the internet.
Oh dear, I saw it! It even had his picture next to it. It must
Exactly,
have
it
been
was
him.
a picture and a meme, it must be true.
Well, Bill Gates is not just buying up farmland in America, is he?
No, he's buying it in India too.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of a tragedy in India, really, as regards farming, because a lot of Indian farmers were taught into buying GM crops, genetically modified crops. This is going to go into Monsanto shortly, and they haven't worked. Been a bit of famine. The Prince Charles, who is a bit of an outspoken thing on this, has said that claimed thousands of Indian farmers are killing themselves after using GM crops. Well, he was branded a scaremonger. In fact, as this chilling dispatch reveals, it's even worse than he feared. Shankar, a respected farmer, loving husband and father, had taken his own life less than 24 hours earlier, facing the loss of his land due to debt. He drank a cupful of chemical insecticide. Unable to pay back the equivalent of 2 years' earnings, he was in despair and could see no way out.
2 years earnings, man.
For the seeds.
Yeah,
Crop had failed twice.
Shankar's crop had failed twice, and of course, famine and pestilence are part of Indian history. They've had famines before there, but it's been bad the last 2 years. And the death of this respected farmer had been blamed on something far more sinister, genetically modified crops.
So I thought, thank you, Chester. So I thought, the genetically modified seeds were meant to be, sort of really hardy and easier to grow.
Not in this scenario.
Oh.
Shankar, like millions of others of Indian farmers, have been promised previously unheard of harvests and income if he switched from farming with traditional seeds to planting GM seeds instead. He was beguiled by the promise of future riches, and he borrowed money in order to buy the GM seeds, because GM seeds are a lot more expensive.
Come in a shiny packet, I think. That's about it.
Yeah. But when the harvest failed, he was left with spiralling debts and no income. And Shankar became one of an estimated 125,000 farmers to take their own life as a result of the ruthless drive to use India as a testing ground for genetically modified crops.
Poor souls.
Yeah, this has been branded a GM genocide by campaigners and was recently highlighted when Prince Charles claimed that the issue of GM had become more of a global moral question. See what he did there, using the GM.
Yeah.
And the time had come to end its unstoppable march. Now I see Hell March and the Red Alert game kicked in.
But yet, no coverage of this on mainstream media.
No?
No.
No, this was in 2008, this article.
I know, but it's still been going on.
Yeah.
Their farmers are still protesting,
Oh,
aren't they?
yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, digging into this, we found these articles, so yeah, it's just...
It's going on. It's been going on quite some time.
Yeah, it's been going on a long time.
Yeah, it's tragic, and Monsanto and their push for these GM seeds, they're a bit iffy themselves, aren't they?
Obviously.
Yep.
Let's talk about them.
And their connection with aforementioned William Gates.
Well, the price of them is the first difference.
Yeah, bloody hell.
£10 for 100 grams of GM seed, compared with less than £10 for 1,000 times more traditional seeds. But the GM salesmen and government officials have promised farmers that these are magic seeds,
Take
Fuck
my magic
yeah,
beans.
with better crops that would be free from parasites and insects.
You can't promise that from a seed. I'm sure of it.
It's certainly the insects thing.
Yeah, the insect thing.
Far from being magic seeds, GM pest-proof breeds of cotton have been devastated by bollworms, a voracious parasite. Voracious. Nor were the farmers told that these seeds require double the amount of water, and this has proved to be a matter of life and
Oh,
death.
for fuck's
With
sake.
rains failing for the past 2 years, many GM crops have simply withered and died, leaving the farmers with crippling debt and no means of paying them off. It's even come to the point where the Indian government has said, well, we won't accept stuff grown with traditional seeds, only GM seeds. So you can't even sell it to us.
Well, at least I'll have something to eat, though. I'd still go with the normal seeds.
And when crops failed in the past, farmers could still save seeds and replant them the following year.
Can't do that with GM ones.
No, they're Terminator seeds.
Oh my god.
See? I told you!
Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum.
Bill Gates is creating little robots.
They don't produce any seeds of their own, so they want to gain monopoly on the food, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to
Food,
eat.
The land.
Yeah.
Yep, he started
water,
with
Nestle
microscopic
and all that.
robots, and they're just going to grow.
So basically, if you think of it, let's see, the global warming, the amount of land, and global warming and our population increase
Yeah.
will eventually make sure that we have to start using farmland to live on and have stuff on, won't it? We already have to start doing that. Yeah, the more people there is, the less space you've got. Now, so farmland's going to be used for people to live on.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a premium.
But if so farmland is going to be a massive premium. If global population trends continue to rise, you're going to need farmland. So they just get in on the ground floor now. That's what it boils
Don't
down
expect
to.
it to level out a little bit, population. Because, and we've got sperm counts going down, haven't we, across the world.
Yeah, but still, there's your conspiracy. Sperm counts are going down around, especially in the Western world, because it's all the crap we get exposed to, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, some dude in Africa
Who's to
living a
say
quite simple life, so they've got a fantastic sperm count.
it's not because of some of these GM seeds, though?
Well, that's another thing, isn't it?
They're not producing seed, so we're eating it, and the males aren't producing their seeds.
It's tragic. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but we've got our other windows open tonight, listeners, so you're going to have a little bit of background noise, but it's been hot today, hasn't it? And it's going to get hotter.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And it's
I'm
going to be
feeling-
stupidly hot over the next few
Yeah.
days.
I might actually just
Sun-kissed.
set on fire on Monday or Tuesday.
We're having unprecedented heat waves, aren't we?
Yeah, which you could put down to climate change.
Strange that, innit?
I'm having an unprecedented amount of kids come round to my house because I've got like a 12-foot pool.
Thank God you added, because I've got a pool.
I stand at my door with ice creams.
I've also been recently employed by the BBC.
I think
My surname is Savile.
my kids' friends' mums are just like, go round the ladies with the pools. I think she's got a huge pool.
You need a Martin Prince like in The Simpsons to build a bigger, better pool.
Yeah.
You do, you need a pool rival. What did he say? He was the queen of some.
That was a good episode, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bard's getting weird and isolated. He just sat there watching at the mill pool on the cast. Right, Monsanto. In 2014, there was a massive worldwide demonstration against Monsanto. 436 cities in 52 countries. That's a big fucking protest. The message was clear. Smash Monsanto. With thousands marching from coast to coast, Canada to Argentina, and around the world, the day of protest has emerged as one of the largest global events However, more than small hopes of mandatory labelling of genetically modified products, smashing Monsanto entails a larger transformation of the modern relationship between people and food.
Hello, Chester.
You just wanted to be on the pod, didn't you?
Yeah.
Have to keep that in.
The show cat. He lives here. He's got more right to be here than us. So it's not only GM products but the continuing economy of globalisation that Monsanto represents. Thanks to major seed companies and agricultural conglomerates like Monsanto and Cargill, the very definition of farmer has changed throughout the world. For a person or group of people in a given community who specialise in producing food, to a corporate landowning entity comprised more of machines, technological assemblages and inputs than of people who work the land. Thus, the target of protest is not only GMs, although they are a central aspect, but also the supply chain of multinational corporations that transforms food into a commodity that many throughout the world cannot afford.
Of course, more expensive seeds, therefore you've got to put your prices up with your food.
Yeah.
Costs more.
And then, therefore, making more poverty, more people probably committing suicide.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And we're not getting any more food out of it. You know, in fact, we're getting less food out of it.
This is a really, really, really grim topic.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It goes dark, doesn't it?
I hope we do something fun as soon as we finish this. Otherwise, I may have to just
Drink
Go
some
in.
insecticide.
find a razor blade. Mike, do you shave clean? Have you,
Electric razor, mate,
Oh,
if I
damn.
do shave.
Yeah,
You're
Mike's
going to
nearly,
come out with a massive beard.
well, you've just saved my life at least.
yeah, Mike's nearly a wizard level now.
But the world,
Not Master Jedi level yet, though.
the world's
Nearly.
a dark
No.
place, isn't it? The world's a dark place, especially for these farmers.
Becoming darker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's it, and the thing is that they're the guys that feed us all. We should be nice to them, shouldn't we?
Should be trying to look after him, shouldn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, making sure their farms don't fail because, hey, you kind of need them crops, need them animals. And even trying to drive them out of business through saying your carbon's going to be cut down, so what then? Are we going to have eventually genetically modified meat?
Well, they're on.
They're already doing that,
they're all
trying
going
that
for
now,
that sort
aren't they?
of putting protein strands together to make
That's it.
fake meat.
Well, they
Yeah.
have made meat in a fucking lab, haven't they?
Smeat.
Just meat, yeah, we covered it, didn't we, on a, what's it called, Weird News at some point, didn't
I'm
we?
not eating anything called smeat.
Synthetic meat.
I'll give it a go.
Claire
Shut
would
up and
eat.
eat your smeat.
Claire would eat.
Drink your shit water.
Claire would clearly eat a scabby rat if it was offered to her on a plate. To be fair.
Scabby rat, I'd have to be, like, you know, I've had no meat for quite some time.
By quite some time, she means 6 hours.
Well, that'll be the future, Claire. If Monsanto gets its way. The crops will fail, you have to eat scabby rats.
Scabby rats.
They're not even grain fed. Because they eat the GM seed, they just end up with cancer, which then gives it to you after so many scabby rats. So it's just a never-ending cycle of shitness.
Or it turns you into like a rat zombie.
Whatever, man. It's genetically modified when it starts affecting our DNA, turning us into a big tribe of rat people who then have to go and live underground.
That's what I mean. It turns into like rat zombies.
You know, like the cross between rats and Morlocks. Living underground in a series of tunnels.
Rat locks.
More rats.
More rats, ratlocks.
Ratlocks, I like that.
Rat locks.
Why have you got to live it underground? Because it's getting too hot outside because global warming.
I think
Yeah.
I've just created myself a new novel. The Rat Locks.
Copyright me.
Yeah, I'll mention you in it. This turd gave me the name.
I want at least 80% of all marketing.
Of the first 3 copies, yeah, deal.
No. So Monsanto and these corporations are just bastards, aren't they? But which corporation isn't a bastard? That's what we also have to ask ourselves today.
Can we just mention who owns millions of shares in this company?
Monsanto,
Yeah.
Mr. Gates.
The aforementioned Bill Gates. Strange that, isn't it? Basically, any shares that go on sale, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation seem to scoop them all up. Really strange.
They've got all that farmland, don't they? It makes sense.
But it just yeah.
I don't know if we should make messing around too much with GM crops and that. I think,
No.
alright, crops fail, but crops have always failed. But if the GM crops are failing, then why risk it?
We need to change the way we farm. We need
do.
vertical farming, underground farming.
You've gone on about this with vertical farming.
Yeah.
We don't think it's
Underground.
practical.
It is
The amount
practical.
of water and energy you need to pump that water up a vertical
No,
farm.
it's more efficient. We don't need pesticides. It's way better. Trust me. It's the future. And then it frees up the land then, doesn't it? You're not having farming on that land, which is causing that.
Well, yeah, 'cause it's just going up instead of...
Yeah, or underground. Yeah.
Why would you
And that
do
land
underground?
can then be rewild, can't it?
You're forgetting about the population, the housing that you need to build that's growing, so that's why you have to vertically farm as well. If it's practical, I'm not convinced by
There's only
myself.
so many years left in the soil anyway, isn't there?
Yes, I learned that on Clarkson's farm.
Go on.
It's only
I
like
know.
100, did you say 60 or 100 harvests for the top 5 feet of soil's got to be turned over in this country or something like that?
Yeah.
Because we just over-farmed it.
Yeah.
We need to turn it over. It might be more than 5 feet, it might be like 10.
Yeah.
But it's all got to be turned over to get the nutrients back into the soil, basically. The stuff deeper down is better than the stuff we've got on top.
Yeah, because they have to leave it for so long as well at certain points. And that's why they have crop rotation.
Fallow field and all that.
Because you can plant like different crops that put nitrogen back into the ground.
Yeah, but these big corporations don't care, do they? They just want
Yeah.
short-term profits. Yeah, and the Indians are killing themselves.
But that's why they test it there, isn't it? That's the part of that's their excuse for it. Is that what India's got is a very difficult
Yeah, harsh climate.
to grow stuff in.
Yeah.
So if our GM crops work there, they'll work anywhere, but they're not working there, which is causing a massive problem.
Yeah.
But the guys have been told, oh yeah, these are going to work.
Surely they should have been giving them the seeds, for, you know,
Well, yeah.
and
No money in that,
subsidising
though.
their farming.
As
you know.
if.
No money in that, no profit in that, is there?
What they should have done is taken a few farms and gone, right, we'll test it here. Does it work? No. Okay. We'll end that.
Well, they've got ulterior motives, haven't they? They want to snap
Of course
all
there
the,
is.
all the land,
Well, this is
force them off the land.
This is the whole
Yeah.
point, isn't
Yeah.
it? This is where, on the outset, they're pretending to be, oh, we're just trying to be good, we're trying to help.
Care for the environment and
When, in reality, they are just fucking blood-sucking vampires that are going around and,
Killing the planet
Turning-
and killing people deliberately.
yeah,
For
turning all the fucking peasants to vampires as well.
But because it's
Turning the peasants into vampires.
And
that sounds like Alex Jones.
Each square of farm...
You just did go full Alex then.
Yeah.
Obviously, each square of farmland is represented by the peasant, and the vampire is Monsanto and that kind of big vampirous company.
I preferred the fact that they were turning peasants into vampires,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounded like a much better film.
Maybe that'll be part of my novel. Vampires just appear.
Right, so let's go back
to drink your blood.
full circle. The proper reason that we're doing this is that, because all of this is supposed to be because of climate change. Then it'll full circle. The reason the Dutch farmers, a lot of them are protesting, the Dutch farmers especially, is that they need to cut their CO2 emissions, and that's going to close 30% of them.
Yeah. The
That's-
CO2, the nitrogen, and what was the other one?
Ammonia.
Ammonia. So we've gone through all the conspiracy. Now we're back to what the WWF is going to claim is myth and fact about climate change. Now, so myth one: the Earth's climate's always changed. It has, yes, that's probably true, but global temperature is now at the highest since records began. And in fact, 17 of the 18 warmest years on record have all taken place since 2001. You know how hard it is to find anti-climate change stuff on Google nowadays?
Hard.
Very hard. This was actually the best article I could find after looking today that actually had the myths and a refute to them.
Right, okay.
So there's a little bit of both in a way,
Okay.
but at the same time, it's very difficult to find climate change denial stuff through Google. So that's more censoring, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Not saying that it's true, but you know, if we're looking at freedom of speech,
Can you find stuff on other search engines?
to be fair, I was using my phone, so I was using Safari, I could have used DuckDuckGo, which would probably bring me some stuff up, but a lot of it's been suppressed on mainstream search engines. Much faster warming corresponds in levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which have been increasing since the Industrial Revolution. So when people talk about climate change today, they mean man-made climate change, and this is the warming of Earth's average temperature as a result of human activity, such as burning stuff and produce energy and transport and cutting down trees to produce the food we eat. Less oxygen, less plants to absorb the CO2,
Yeah.
more CO2 in the atmosphere,
Well,
traps the heat, planet warms up.
We've known about this for donkey's years, just on the lungs of the earth, yeah? The Amazon rainforest. We've been chopping that down, huge fucking numbers. Massive chunks of land filled with big, hundreds and hundreds of year old trees that were the lungs of the world, gone.
Yeah, it's a curiously self-destructive behaviour, because we really need that oxygen.
Yeah.
Let Monsanto own that, or Bill Gates.
but
You know, so we're killing ourselves because the worse the oxygen levels are.
Well, it's not, and
We
it's all
start
for
dying.
vanity as well. That's the worst thing about it. We're killing ourselves through vanity because the supply and demand for wood is in your furnitures and things like that, yeah? These big hardwood and these old big trees that are fucking 100 metres tall, the ones that give really good wood, they're the lungs, but we're using them to make a chair or a table. And out of that one big tree, you might get 2-3 tables out of it. And it's just like, it's our own vanity as well that's doing it. Obviously, there's other uses.
Yeah, it's
Think of
the cattle, isn't it?
There are a lot of other uses
Yeah.
for it as well. And they are trying to create
What you're
land
doing is
for cattle.
you're putting cattle on it, which is releasing methane into the atmosphere.
Well, this is even
And
worse.
that's not being contracted, so we're getting less oxygen, more methane.
Yeah, and this is the thing it's shit.
Yep.
More CO2.
It is shit. But what's the solution?
Well,
Stop cutting down the rainforest, to be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, tell people you can't have a fucking chair anymore.
70%
made out of wood.
70% of emissions come from 100 companies, which are coal and gas and oil companies. We need to stop burning fossil fuels,
Yeah,
but they own the governments of the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Myth 2, plants need carbon dioxide. Yes, they do. They certainly do. They remove and store away huge amounts of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere each year. But we touched on this already. There's only so much carbon dioxide they can absorb, and the amount of trees is getting less, and the carbon dioxide is getting more.
Yeah.
okay.
This is it. I said we basically just covered that really, but
Yeah.
we gave other examples of different gases.
Myth 3, global warming isn't real as it's still cold. It is causing the Earth's average surface temperature to increase, and this is not only making heat waves and droughts more likely, but it's also causing changes to our natural climate systems. These changes are making extreme weather events more likely and more severe. For example, hurricanes and storms are becoming more intense, moving slower and taking longer to die down. Because of where we are, the UK and Ireland are likely to get more rain and wind as a result of climate change, while New York will see more snow. So like day after tomorrow then, I'm guessing. Myth 4, climate change is a future problem. The world's leading climate scientists last year warned we only have 12 years to limit global warming to a maximum of 1.5 degrees C and avoid climate breakdown.
This is the problem, you see.
Well, everything at the minute operates on an optimal kind of atmosphere, yeah? So if that atmosphere just changes, even if it is by 1.5 degrees, there's so many elements of the world that are going to break down just through that.
Well, all of a sudden the crops you used to grow can't grow in that heat. You're not getting as much water. 'Cause it's hotter.
Exactly. England used
Oh,
to be
you-
great for potatoes. Not anymore, because there's not enough water.
And the hotter it gets, it speeds up because of other factors like the melting of the ice caps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Reflects
Coral
less.
reefs, the
Yeah.
coral reefs in Australia,
Yeah.
they're bleaching because
Yeah.
they're getting above the temperatures.
Yep. If all the ice melts, it reflects less heat back from the sun.
Yeah.
So it traps even more. Like
Yeah.
feedback cycles.
Which would
isn't
then
it?
speed
Feedback
up
loops.
the melting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, even 1.5 degrees can make a difference.
Yeah.
12 years, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. That's always the thing I have to do with my issue with this is the time scale they always proposed. I mean, back in the 80s we were told it was going to happen very soon. Back in the 90s, we were told we were facing a crisis. Now it's another crisis. It's always a crisis. A lot of countries are trying to reduce it. Not very successfully, but at least it's in their policies to try and reduce it. But obviously that again leads us back to more nefarious means, like that's why the Dutch farmers are protesting. 30% of them are going to lose their jobs. Well, that's not sustainable.
No. How are you going to feed them as well? Because you're just going to make less food, aren't you?
And myth 5, that renewable energy is just a money-making scheme, and this is one that's always thrown about by the right-wing climate change deniers. It's just the green revolution is just a money-making scheme. These solar panels are too expensive.
Yeah.
Which they are fucking expensive.
And they're also not very well good for the environment to make. That's also an issue. But as technology progresses, you find new materials.
And they're dangerous.
Dangerous to dispose of too.
Yeah, they are. They're very dangerous because they use DC. And obviously DC is very, very, very dangerous. Even small amounts of direct current. It's fucking very dangerous. Kills people very, very often. People not knowing what they're touching.
It's a commonly held belief that renewable energy is expensive, but this simply isn't true. Solar power and onshore wind are the cheapest ways of generating electricity. Well, we're fine in the UK because we've got to get all them storms. Look at the wind, them fucking windmills we swirling around. Do we have enough power for everybody?
We might even float away.
They cost loads.
Like little propellers, like going, shit, it's moving the whole country.
They cost quite a lot to maintain them. Wind
Still
farms.
cheaper than nuclear gas and fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Yep.
I suppose thinking about it, you've got your gas, your fossil fuels, you've got to dig them out the ground, you've got to get them up, you've got to export them. Wind, it's just,
refine them.
Refine it and then transport it out for sale, whereas wind, we just stick a fucking wind turbine up,
Yeah.
connect it to the grid, let it do its thing.
I'm very surprised most houses don't have wind turbines attached to them.
You would think so. And my dad, weirdly, was for some reason, incredibly environmentally conscious. He's got 24 solar panels on his roof. He uses as less energy as he can, mainly so it's not as expensive, obviously. But he was looking at getting a wind turbine on the side of the house. Because why not?
We've been through this. They can build houses now that produce more energy than it uses.
Yeah, if you stuck solar panels and a wind turbine on every house.
The technology's there, can be done.
You can also put moss on the roof to conserve heat during the winter.
But then we're not
as
paying
well.
all this electricity and gas, are we?
That's it. They're
If we
losing
produce
out.
enough energy to heat our homes and everything ourselves, then they're missing out on the profits.
That's it. And they'd have to be paying us because we'd be putting it into the grid. Because while you're at work all day, your house is just running your basics, your fridge, your freezer, maybe your washing machine if you've left it going, you started it off while you're at work, whatever. Everything should be off at the wall anyway, shouldn't it? You don't leave stuff on standby. It just consumes power.
Yeah.
So while you're at work for 8 to 10 hours a day, your house is just producing electricity. Pumping it into the grid.
Not sure I'd like wind turbines on the top of everybody's house.
No, you'd stick them on the side of it. It wouldn't be that big.
I don't even think there are wind turbines in these houses that I've seen.
Yeah, I could just see one
I think
flying
it's all
off
solar,
and
but-
hurting somebody.
What they use nowadays are very small little things with a dynamo on the back and it's smaller blades, but it rotates faster.
You could have like half
Catches
a
more
dozen
wind.
of them across your roof, couldn't you? Half a dozen like fan-sized wind turbines all connected up to one. So you know what I mean. You could do it and not be protruding out of the house by 6 foot. You just have 6 1-foot ones. You know what I mean?
There's ways of doing. They've done it. I'm trying to tell you, they've done it. They've built houses now that produce more energy. They don't need fucking massive wind turbines everywhere. They can do it.
Yeah.
Why aren't the politicians putting that in policy? For all houses to be built with that?
Why are we still backing dirty fossil fuels?
Because the UK spends an eye-watering 12 billion euros or 10.5 billion a year supporting fossil fuels.
Subsidies.
That's why.
They've captured the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's now cheaper to use renewables than it is nuclear gas and fossil fuels, but we're still using them.
Because we give them subsidies and they give us they give them taxpayers' money as a subsidy and they get a kickback at the other end of it or something. They might be sitting on the board, taking a salary, taking a nice pension.
They actually pay minus 53% tax, I think was the last one I saw.
What?
We give them 53% of what they should be paying in tax back as subsidies.
And they still hike the prices.
Yep. Record profits.
because they hike the prices. That's it.
This is what happens. You have a corrupt government.
Right. So
If you made
It doesn't work for the people.
boils back down to a corrupt government.
Of course.
And the tendrils of corporations who are the real evil in the world.
Yeah.
They really wouldn't run the world. The corporations. If you want to know who the Illuminati nowadays, look no higher than the world's largest. There's the 7 corporations who own pretty much 90% of everything.
Yeah.
We did an episode on it.
I saw a little spidergram
Yeah.
of one of them before.
Apparently polar bear numbers are increasing. That's not the case though,
No.
they're dying out. Polar bear populations are predicted to decline by 30% by the middle of this century. Oh, look at those little polar bears, aren't they cute?
Oh.
Yeah. Sad.
Renewable energy can only work when it's not cloudy or windy. Well, we know that's rubbish. Solar panels pick up just light. You still be, as long as there's daylight, they
Yeah.
work.
Yep.
They're not as effective, but they still work. You can still power your...
It's
your-
ultraviolet light they're picking up at the end of the day, so yep, cloudy don't matter. Works
Yeah.
better in the sunshine, but yeah.
Yeah, you either power your house or put it back into the grid, aren't you?
Yeah.
Animals will adapt to climate change.
This one isn't a myth.
Well, some will, because Darwin got the adaptation part right, but let's be clear, some plants and animals will adapt, but not all. To survive, plants, animals and birds confronted with climate change have 2 options, move or adapt. I know the plants are going to move unless they're like triffids.
Maybe
Or
that's,
bananas.
maybe that's how they'll evolve. They'll evolve little
Well, I suppose
feet.
that we would take the seeds of said plants to wherever on Earth is still at that
Livable.
temperature.
Yeah.
So we might be growing bananas in Yorkshire in 12 years because they tempt the climate.
They'll walk to Sheffield.
Hmm?
They walk, don't they, banana trees?
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, they're triffids.
Yeah.
No.
Honestly, we had it as a fucked up fact once.
Wow, okay.
They walk. They move.
I knew there was a reason not to trust bananas. I knew it. I knew
It's
what
not a
they
great deal. It's like a few metres a year or something, but they do move.
Still.
Well, given the speed of climate change, it's becoming impossible for many species to adapt quickly enough to keep up with their changing environment. And as habitats are destroyed by roads, cities and dams, movement becomes increasingly difficult. And for those that can't move or adapt, the future doesn't look so positive. What about getting rid of humans? It will fix it, won't it? Less people?
Bit
That's-
drastic though, isn't it?
Is a bit drastic.
Mass suicide.
It is, yeah, obviously the WWE is a WWF.
Why don't
sorry.
we just try and get...
WWE.
Why don't we
I got caught in a wrestling circle then. I was looking at WWF and thinking about pandas hitting each other with steel chairs. And then I said WWE by mistake.
We could kill humans to fix this, but wouldn't it be wiser just to get rid of the corrupt governments?
Yeah.
Nah, kill 10% of the population instead.
90%.
90 or I'm for that.
That's what the Georgia Guidestones wanted.
Obviously the WWF is firmly believes that's wrong. Although it's easy to start feeling we've gone too far already and the planet won't be able to support the world's growing population. It's the WWF's mission to build a world where people and nature thrive together. And the technology and systems we need to move to 100% renewable by 2045 and use our planet's resources sustainably are already available. What's now needed is for political and business leaders to take bold and urgent action towards using these solutions to address the climate crisis and restore nature.
That ain't gonna
So that's
happen.
not going to happen, is it?
No.
Not if Greta Thunberg's got anything to do with it. But she might try.
Hey,
You never
what about
know.
the one, well, she might go and ask them how dare they again.
They might listen to her.
I doubt it.
Stroppy little teenager.
Apparently, another myth is that China is the only country responsible for climate change. They do a lot, though, don't they?
They do.
They do
make
a lot.
They make
Make
everything.
don't they?
One of the largest emitters of greenhouse gases. Apparently, one of the largest investors in renewables. The increase in investment has been in response to the rapid growth of green businesses and the need to clean up air pollution in its major cities. And yeah, I've seen footage of China in the morning where you can't see the sunrise, so they actually display that on a massive video screen on the street.
They're all walking around with masks and stuff, and
Yeah.
long before COVID.
During the pandemic, when everything shut down, this isn't China, but it's India. It's very similar. There was a town,
It's very similar.
in India.
I think he's talking about the population
Ah.
density and all sorts.
No, it's next door, isn't it? India's next door to China.
Shares a little bit of a border, yeah.
Yeah. There's this town near the Himalayas, and for like 50 years, the view had been obscured by haze. All of a sudden, because of the the lockdown, they could see the Himalayas again.
Wow.
It's fucking mental.
It's
Fucking mental.
Fucking mental.
Wow.
So,
Is this why Granny moved into this house?
and they have similar air pollution problems to China. India does.
Well, they're trying to catch up, aren't they? They're all playing catch up. So they're using dirtier tech, dirtier older technology to boost, to get them up there,
Well,
to keep up with the West.
They say it's a conspiracy, all the climate change. Well, what if it is? We're cleaning up the air, we're cleaning
Not a
up
bad thing, is it?
the oceans, we're cleaning up the planet, stop cutting down the trees. It's not a bad thing.
It's only got positive outcomes, hasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we're not all breathing in pollutants
I'd
anymore.
rather take that risk, you know, just in case it is true, then let's do this, rather than say it's all bollocks, and then 50 years down the line, oh, fuck, we are fucked now.
So what, the farmers just got to suck it up?
No, the way they're doing it is wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've got to include people and small farmers and to get the solution.
Yeah.
Things like industry going on to a 4-day week.
Yep.
Massively cut emissions.
Actually, production levels stay the same or go up. Basically, we've got a system of growth on this planet. Everything's measured in growth, the GDP.
Yeah.
You can't have infinite growth on a finite planet.
Yeah.
'Cause you're going to run out of resources.
The whole system is geared up for failure. And nobody wants to, you know, it's like a white elephant in the room. Capitalism is the problem. But
Nobody
because
wants to
we're
take
capitalist
responsibility.
countries, nobody wants to talk about it. It's like Marx. You don't teach Marx in schools.
No.
Well, no, because he's the opposite of the system we've got. So you can't have people.
But
You want to keep the system you've got in place, don't you?
the best thing to learn about a system is understand its weaknesses.
Yeah.
And the best criticism of capitalism is Marx.
You have the best beard.
If you go and buy something on the internet, you don't just look at the positive reviews, do you?
Yeah, you look at the negative as
Yeah,
well.
you look at the overall and say, well, you know, I want to pick the best product. It's going to do for the best amount of money and whatever. Well, nobody criticises the system we're in. Nobody understands the problems that are inherent in the system and the contradictions, because we're not taught it.
We've all been brought up within it. It's normal. It's
Yeah.
the way of life.
That's it. And
We all just automatically accept it anyway.
Because they know if people knew the inherent problems with capitalism,
They'll be upright.
yeah, they wouldn't accept it. Because all the money goes to the top, always gets monopolised.
Well, I think just everybody's scared. The top are scared of losing all their money.
Yeah.
The bottom are scared of
Losing what they've got.
losing what they got, or making an uprising.
But we're losing what we've got now.
Yeah.
We can see it. The world's crumbling apart.
we've lost our rights. We're losing.
Yeah.
We're worse off right now in this country than we have been for a while. The cost of living's massively shot up.
And all the
And it's been
institutions
allowed to
are
happen.
failing.
Everything is crumbling. The institutions are failing because they're all badly run, corrupt organisations now.
And the politician's job is just to manage that decline. That we don't uprise.
It's the fall of Rome with Wi-Fi, baby.
Yep. If you look at the parallels in the same,
They are.
yeah, we're in the decadence, the last bit now. The decadence for the rich, not the poor.
And then some celebrity chefs becoming
Yeah.
really popular is also one of the signs of population.
And-
Weirdly, towards the end, celebrity chefs become really popular.
And they pay their sports stars incredible amounts of money.
Yeah.
That happened in Rome as well.
The richest sportsman
Yeah.
to have ever lived before Tiger Woods was a Roman charioteer.
If you look at the parallels, you can see it. There's like 10 stages or something. Like, first of all, you got like conquest and things, and
7 stages of the
That's
fall of
it,
the
7.
Empire. 7. We did it as an episode.
Yeah.
It is on there somewhere.
civilization collapse. Yeah,
And then you get so high, and then it all just crumbles.
Yeah. You just get too big for your
the
britches.
rock
basically.
gets in. Yeah, and then the rock starts from inside.
Yeah.
Get corrupt
Yeah,
governments.
get
and-
too greedy for your own good and everything falls apart.
What happens to us?
Well, we're in the bread and circuses part at the moment.
This subject really isn't ending on a high note.
No.
is it?
No.
It's not.
There's no happy ending
the civil-
unless we really change our ways.
Okay.
Yeah, but with something dying, there's always the birth of something new. So let's
Yeah,
hope.
I mean, obviously when Rome fell, you used to have the Dark Ages of 500 years, and then the medieval era, then the Renaissance, and then we started, getting up there again, Industrial Revolution, and planet had time to recover.
Once America goes, we're like domino effect from the West. So China will be the winners.
I don't know if China will be the winners. I don't trust the Chinese at all. I don't think the stuff they make is any good. I mean, it's not, but I even think the stuff they spend a lot of money on, I don't think it's very good. I think they're just playing catch up and making shit look better than it is.
Well, they're just making everything because they've got a lot of people to make as well, haven't they? A lot of technology.
Yeah, but their technology's all stolen or copied.
I think Pete's looking suicidal.
You know, you ever see the Grand Tour episode
You know
where
what?
they all went to China to try and look at the cars.
Yeah.
And all their cars, like rip-offs of the Mini or the Land Rover,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
bought one, took it over there, unassembled it, reassembled it, made a few little changes, and pushed it out. And they're claiming that as their own, but it's probably a bit shitter than the original still, because it's built using shitty labour.
That's the future, man.
That is the future, but I don't want it. I think the Chinese aren't as good as everyone. I think they'll fuck it up.
Look forward to your
They're
re-education camps, people.
You know, Mike, even the tomb of Chairman Mao has a fucking McDonald's opposite it. Genuinely. Mm-hmm. It's right opposite the tomb. The fucking father of communism of that country's got they've got the father of capitalism sat the other side
The
of him.
mixed economy has been for decades.
I just love the fact that there's a McDonald's opposite the tomb of Chairman Mao. I think it's hilarious. So yeah, we've depressed Pete.
Yep.
Yeah. Thoroughly.
The future's not bright, the future's not orange.
Future scorching red.
It was my 40th birthday yesterday, and I was feeling quite positive. And now today, I've just realised that
You might be one of them statistics.
life begins at 40. Oh shit!
We've only got 12 more years left, mate. Climate change is to be believed.
Believe me, things are going to get worse. You think it's bad now?
I'm alright.
We might look at these as the good times.
You wanted to eat part of Claire's scabby rat? You'd be that desperate?
I'll be cooking it.
Yeah. And on that bombshell.
On that bombshell, we're going to get Pete to watch Threads after this. Not really. I have got 2 hours spare, but another 2 hours spare.
I think we're definitely going to watch something comical. 100%. We're going to have to watch something comical after this.
Right, well, thanks for listening. I've been Ben. Don't drink the flavor. Don't join a cult. Follow us on Facebook at Current of the Bull and the Post to the Apocalypse. SoundCloud and other podcasting platforms at Current of the Bull and the PTA. And YouTube at Apocalypse Ball.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening. Peace out, may the force be with you.
I've been Claire, keep an open mind, but not so open that it spills out your ears.
And I've been Pete. I normally try and say something positive, but I don't have it in me tonight.
We broke him.
Goodbye.
Just like we did to Claire on the Christmas episode.